industrial city upon the Ohio, Pittsburgh. And we were there for about 5 years. Now, after that, it was my father's business that brought us to Wheeling. And you should know that my father had the first sawmill in the Panhandle. And business was very good in those early years. So much so that my parents could afford to send me to a good college in Connecticut. But upon my graduation, I returned immediately here to Wheeling and began business with my father in the sawmill. But my business interests went far beyond our sawmill. In fact, I have been a maker of nails and a producer of iron, and recently a colleague and I, we formed the Bank of Wheeling. But I have been blessed with great success in my business, and that is why I've always felt it very important to give back and to serve. So I am very proud to tell you that for the past 10 years, I have represented Ohio County in the Virginia House of Delegates. But my friends, dark clouds are now upon the horizon. For you see, just this past December, South Carolina seceded from this union. 7 states soon followed. Virginia then had to decide what we would do. Well, myself and Sherrard Clemens were elected here in Ohio County to represent our county at the Virginia Secession Convention in Richmond. And beginning in February of this past year, we discussed and we debated and discussed. But finally, in March 24th of this spring, we took our first vote. And friends, in that vote, the majority of our delegates voted to remain in this union. Well, we continued to debate and to discuss. And just a little over a month ago, we took our second vote. And again, the majority of our delegates voted to remain in this federal union. But friends, things have taken a precipitous and ominous turn. For you see, this past month on April 12th, the bombardment of Fort Sumter began in Charleston Harbor by the South Carolinians. Our nation is now in civil war. When news of Fort Sumter reached the convention, things they took a fevered pitch. But not more so than 3 days later, when on April 15th, we received word in our convention that President Lincoln had issued a proclamation calling for 75,000 troops to quell that Southern rebellion. Well, those who had sat upon the fence in our convention, those who had waited to see what this calamity would bring, many of them would then favor secession. And I regret to inform you all that in our last vote of April 17th, the majority of our delegates voted to secede. Virginia is now at war. But I voted no, Clemens voted no, and the majority of our delegates from Northwest Virginia voted no to secession. Many of us had to flee in fear of our lives. Now, I have been back here in Wheeling 3 weeks, and I have been agitating for the union. In fact, in the past 2 weeks, I am very proud to inform you, 2 weeks' time, we have formed 10 companies of union men here in the Northern Panhandle, if that gives you a taste of our sentiment. Now, when we were in Richmond, I tried to impress upon my fellow delegates the position we're in the Northern Panhandle, because, friends, 4 miles that way lies the great state of Ohio. But 10 miles hence, the powerful state of Pennsylvania. We in the Panhandle are a wedge, as Moses was between the Red Sea. But they would not hear that. Those southern planters who were hell-bent on their war, they now have it. These are perilous times, friends, but I must tell you I'm hopeful. Madam, I must be hopeful. I have 5 children in this world, my wife Sarah and I worry about their future. But I'll tell you now, I'll tell you, madam, that in 3 months hence, this war will be over. Our nation will be whole. For surely, friends, surely we as Americans who share common bonds of blood and of history, surely we will not lay slaughter upon ourselves as pigs and cattle at the slaughter pen. No, that will not happen. In fact, should we meet again on a fine May day here in Wheeling in the year 1862, I am certain that war will be ended and our nation will be healed. That is my fervent thought. I have spoken much to you, and I know you have others to see, so I will say good day and thank you for coming.
Thank you.